If you asked me what my favorite game series is, it wouldn't be Pokemon, Just Cause, Mario, or The Legend of Zelda. My favorite game series is actually the Xenoblade Chronicles franchise, but even this franchise has its problems. Since Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is the most recent game I played, I decided to make a video about it. I have 5 major problems with this game, starting with the map. Xenoblade Chronicles games have always been open world, and at a massive scale. But the maps in Xenoblade Chronicles 2 feel smaller. The biggest offender of this is in Chapter 3, when a Gormati kid steals a special core crystal from the main character. When the characters chase down the kids, Rex asks who he is. The child says,
It's Reese from Cordell Village.
the problem I have with this is that Cordell Village is nowhere on Gormott. The only trace of a village is this one shed that is on the side of this pool. It shows that the story of Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is bigger than the map can actually handle, and that is just a shame. And yet, an even bigger shame is not in the map, but in the game engine used. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 had a very short development. I think it was 2.5 years. That is very fast for a video game. The reason they could do this is because the developers of the Xenoblade Chronicles games, Monolith Soft, reused the game engine used for their previous game, Xenoblade Chronicles X. Unfortunately, the game engine has some problems, like pop-ins, very long load times, and at worst, crashes. The crashing isn't as bad as Just Cause 3 or Skyrim, but it still happens. If Monolith Soft uses this engine again, it will need lots of reprogramming and polishing. But the engine isn't the only thing that needs changes. Gormott has several problems, and the biggest problem is Territorial Rotbart. He is a titanic hazard on Gormott because he sprints at you at supersonic speeds and one-shots you with his level 81 muscles. This is like facing Dark Souls Ornstein Smough at the Undead Burg. But I must admit, killing him in the late game is so awesome! Aside from some bad game design, I have a problem with the main protagonist of all characters. Yes, Rex, the driver of the Aegis, is way too young. The Xenoblade Wiki says that he is 15 years old. The problem with this is that something as important as taking the Master Blade and going on a quest to the mythical Elysium is way too complicated for a 15-year-old brain. Laura from Torn of the Golden Country DLC is a much better protagonist. She's 27 years old and is already fighting her own demons and needing to deal with major losses. Rex just isn't the best protagonist for this story, and that's sad. The last problem that I have is one everyone can see in the character design. Yep, the poorly dressed girls. At the time Xenoblade Chronicles 2 was being developed, Monolith Soft didn't have a designated character designer, so they needed to hire people from other studios. You can clearly see this in the differences in the Tornid characters and the other characters. However, some of the other artists went a little wild with the female characters. Some examples are Pyra, Mithra, Brigid, and worst of all, Dahlia, the slutty bunny. Oof. It's a real shame because these designs take you out of this awesome and immersive world building. If only these things had been fixed, this game could have been a masterpiece. Now then, this is my first video I have made by myself without any help from others, so I expect that it won't be as good as it could be. I might revisit this project again in the future, but I have other things I want to make. So please tell me how I can improve so I can do better in the future. Also, you can subscribe, like, share, or whatever, because it really doesn't make much of a difference to me. I'm not living off YouTube money or anything like that. But I would like you to share so that other people can send me feedback on how to improve. Anyways, bye.